Hi, I'm Kaylinn. I'm the key keeper. You can find me at Pure Keys Lake at YouTube. And now I'm with my girl Kenji King, and we're going to talk all things Gemini. So let's have a good
It is
podcast.
the official Gemini podcast that has been in preparation.
Yes, oh my gosh, guys. If you guys only knew how long this took to get up and running, get it off the ground, it's really ordained, I feel, at this point for it to happen.
So I think both of us have a lot of information that we want to address and speak on. So I'm going to give the introduction to Kaylin because he's the original philosopher. So let him discuss and introduce the topic.
Okay, so today we are going to talk about all things Gemini, and we are going to discuss my Sun in Gemini, my Mercury in Gemini, Kenji as Gemini rising, and Gemini Lilith, I believe. Yes, so we're going to discuss that angle as well. We're going to discuss what it means to be a Gemini and the stereotypes associated with being a Gemini, and what is the gift of ultimately being a Gemini. Why are we the mutable air signs of the zodiac? Why did God place us in that specific quadrant at that position? You know, and that's what I basically want to get into today. So, Kenji, firstly, tell me what it's like to have Gemini rising, because I can just imagine that must filter your whole life.
Oh my
How is
gosh.
that?
Talk about the inconsistency. I think that's the problem because we have to plan in advance.
Outfit, so definitely it screams Gemini. What you said about the changeability, that's actually more your second house of value, in which you have Cancer ruled by the moon. So the ups and downs in mood or the shifts in the tide, that's more the influence of Cancer than it is the Gemini rising making you inconsistent. It's just how it's
Mm,
placed. It's the fact that you
mm,
value fluctuation, you value the ebb and flow of life. So you allow yourself to be taken by the ebb and flow of life. So, as a
yes.
Gemini rising, you are positioned uniquely to have Cancer as your foundation in the second house. So, you stand on top of that moon and you shift with those tides.
I
Yeah.
keep on going like a river.
Yes, honey. And so, and you also have Lilith in Gemini. What is that
Oh
like?
my
Because I
gosh.
can
Talk
just
about
imagine
Lilith.
you coming for people.
So for me, Lilith represents my sexual side, I would say.
Okay.
I
Okay.
did have a bad rep. I'm gonna be honest about it because why not? Because why not?
Okay. No,
But I
it's
did
fine.
have a
We
bad
love honesty.
I did have a bad rep in my past about my
Okay.
slutty nature per se, but I've always
Okay.
owned it. Especially
Mm-hmm.
because Lilith represents the fluidity of rebellion, and especially being a
Mm-hmm.
woman who's very highly sexual and
Yeah.
open-hearted and polyamorous,
Okay.
so because no one understands my untamed kind of nature in that aspect, my sexuality and promiscuity, it comes off maybe like it's bad or blah blah
Okay.
blah. But I'm not like a
Okay.
prostitute. I'm not like a sex worker. It's just in my nature of how I maybe express myself.
Okay. Well, I don't have Lilith in Gemini, but I have Lilith in Virgo. So there's a similar mercurial sapiosexual element to our expression of our wild side. And to me, with Lilith in Virgo, I think it's very much about like mastering this. This is attractive to me. So if you show me you have mastery over this and you know how to use this and this hasta, the hidden hand, you know how to manipulate things, that's very attractive to me. And Gemini, we're the best fucking manipulators along with Scorpio. The best.
But it's not like a bad thing to be a manipulator because sometimes if you're
No,
manipulating
no.
for good intention or for the harm of nobody,
Yeah.
then
And I
it's not
think
like
that's
it's
a
a
very
bad.
quintessential Gemini trait as well. We manipulate things so that the outcome doesn't harm anybody because we are able to see so many facets at once and we carry such a light emphasis on life. Like, we're kind of fairies, we're ethereal like that. We don't like shit being too heavy, too weighted. So, like, we will manipulate things in the background just to be like in flow again, just so that
Mm.
everybody's on the same page. We will manipulate the gossip so that it lands on everybody's ears softly.
Go
But the
out
truth
there.
must come out. The truth must
Yeah.
come out. And that's, I
It
think,
depends.
what is the deepest thing with the Geminis. Like, we can't keep the truth to ourselves. So, my
It,
sun is in Gemini. Just to segue into the next section, my sun is in Gemini. It's in Gene Key 12. It's about purity. And my name actually also means purity. It resonates with a body of water. And it also means he who is like God. So Archangel Michael and Kaylinn, that's where the phonetic resonance comes from in my name. So as a Gemini, I am mandated as a Gemini Sun and Mercury, conjunct the descendant no less. I am mandated to be like Prometheus and share knowledge, share the truth, even if I get burned, even if I get chained to a rock sometimes or hunted down by the mob.
let me just say hello Abraham. Abraham
Abraham.
P. Hi
Hi,
there, how are
Abraham.
you? Thanks for joining us. So, what do you think? How do you feel being a Gemini Sun and Mercury? How does that make you feel in your flow of life?
Well, I'm a Sagittarius rising, so my sun is opposite my ascendant. So I see my Gemini sun as something that I project. It's not something that is innate to me. I'm much more my Scorpio moon in the 12th house. Like, that is my core personality. But when I meet people and I mingle, then it's like this other Mercury comes out, and I'm just like, hi, how are you? Oh my gosh, it's lovely to meet you. And like, I don't know where that comes from, but it's always been there until I learned I'm a Gemini sun. Um, I've never really understood why I had this split, and people used to think I'm bipolar quite actually, because yep, because they were like, "How are you so quiet and studious in class, but when I meet you on a weekend, you're like this freak?" And I was just like, "Well, I'm sorry, I couldn't be that freak in class. I
Oh
would have
my
been
word.
had the moment served me." But
So,
to bring it back to your question, sorry, being a
yeah.
Gemini sun, I feel like it's part of how I project myself, but it isn't necessarily how I feel my core identity resonates because um, it's basically how I bring my ego together, how I bring my focus together. The way I focus
Mm,
is I always have two things in my purview at once, and that's
mm,
what I think is my Gemini placement in a nutshell. I always have a dialogue happening in here. I'm always measuring the yin and yang of opposite sides. I'm always waiting something out. I'm always in a debate with myself. And then I'll stop and be like, Kaylin, shut up. And then I'll go on arguing the other side.
so I just want to mention that Kaylin is, to me, in my perspective, personally, I'm actually like an atheist spiritual, but I feel like the new age, the revolution, the evolution of life, the new young
Mhm.
generation, everyone, there needs to be a new, how can I say, universal God or a universal leader, like a Jesus or like a Swami, Sri Satya, or like a, what's the other God? Allah, you know. So I feel like the old generation has finished its time and paused in life. And I feel like as the new generation approaches us, as the new age is now in us, Kaylin is the guy that brings forward this generation. So I feel like
Oh,
his,
please, please, please stop. Oh my gosh, you are always going to make me uncomfortable with the star inside of me. But yes, it is there. And I wouldn't propose to be a new age leader, but I'm definitely part of the crystal consciousness generation who are supposed to bring the higher frequencies online with everybody. And I can see from my birth chart, you know, there are many placements that link me towards starseed constellations. We've spoken about this, in fact, the last time.
and you know what? The Starseed
Yeah,
generation, there's not many of us. So if we do
yeah,
find each other and connect, it's very rare to do that because not many people understand this. You know, it's very difficult to connect with humans.
yes. Oh my
So
goodness.
when I find other people like Kaylin or other artists that I collaborate with and make music with, it's like amazing because I'm literally seeing my twin and it feels
Yeah,
amazing.
that's how it feels. That's how it feels talking to you. It's like you are my anima inner person. You're my inner feminine walking outside of me. The way you are, the way you like just go for things, the way you are so carefree and sensuous, that's me. It's just that's me when the Scorpio moon isn't at play. You know what I mean?
Mm, mm.
So I always live for your channel. I love your work. I love everything you stand for. I love Kenji King, the conscious leader, as a title, as an epithet. It's going to be in the history books. I can see it.
And this is gonna make a legendary impact. And you know what, guys? Kaylin has been my number one supporter ever since, even before I became an actress, a model, a dancer. Even before fame happened, Kaylin was always the guy, the one fan, the one supporter on my YouTube. When I was doing the birth chart stuff and the spiritual stuff, he was the one guy.
Aw, I'm so glad I could be in your corner all this time. I knew you are destined to be a star. Excuse me. Something just caught in my throat trying to speak truth to power. But I knew you were going to be a star. And I knew you were going to be a star ever since your Uranus in Aquarius video. I
Yeah,
knew you were destined to be a star because the way you just sat there telling people, like, who is this God upon me? I knew you were a star. You were that God upon me personally
you know what?
because, yeah.
And talk about Uranus and Aquarius. His moon is Scorpio. My moon is Aquarius. So I feel like we also kind of transject and transcend each other's darkness and light in a sense, especially with
Mm.
Gemini.
Yeah, yeah, that's definitely a cool little um part of our synastry. We both have Gemini placements, we both have Aquarius placements. I have Uranus and my chart ruler Jupiter in Aquarius. So
And
more so than,
Sagittarius.
and Sagittarius rising, yeah. So more so than Scorpio, I actually relate to my Aquarius placement a lot because it's the
Mm.
way my Jupiter is in the third house. So it's the way my mind works, you know. It's constantly expanding, looking for new information. I'm constantly gathering information. Um, so and it's always about the threshold of the most avant-garde shit, like new age stuff, metaphysics, spirituality, everything Aquarius. I'm very interested in that. I love all things aliens, all things out there, all things space, which they say don't really exist, but who are we to judge?
So I
But I love
discovered
all
this
of that.
um, I discovered all of the different star seeds and which, like, what each being of star seed origin comes from, what they do, what they look like. And I discovered
Okay.
that Kaylinn is a lyra. He's a, what is the full name? Lemurian star seed. He's a Lemurian.
Lemurian.
And
That is
Lemurians,
so
or how do you,
cool.
I can't say the word like properly, but it's Lemurian or something like that.
Lemurian,
They
yeah.
tend to be fairies, and they tend to have this whimsical nature. And
Oh,
it's
wow.
more to do with the flow of the imagination, whereas I am an Andromedan meta species starseed, and I'm more with the code, with the new age, with technological and metaphysical science of life.
Okay.
Mm.
That is so cool that you mentioned I'm Lemurian because I've always felt pre Atlantean, like more connected to the waters. I definitely feel like I've been a mermaid in some past life. So,
Exactly.
so what you're saying about Lemuria, it definitely resonates.
Okay,
Because
so then
I'm not that into or well versed. I wouldn't say I'm not into. I'm into starseeds, but I'm not well versed on my own starseed family yet. I haven't had my sort of awakening to that, um, which I
mm,
hope I will have soon. I should hope to have an experience that just aligns me with like ancestral memory of who I am, closer to my Saturn return.
fully out of body experience. So I want to tell the viewers something very important. I actually died years ago. It was a phase of my life we don't want to talk about, but I did die from a suicide attempt. And I actually, the doctors brought my body back to life. My energy source came back in my body, and literally I was reborn. And I feel
Okay.
like when people talk about death or whatever, scary, it's not. Because this phase of my life that happened, when I was reborn, I felt myself transcend. I became a new person. I realized my abilities were heightened. Everything about me was super heightened. I became the supersonic superhero villain
Oh,
after
yes.
I died and got reborn. It was crazy. So, Kaylin, what is your opinion on death? How do you see death and the rebirth?
Well, I'm a Scorpio moon, so I love death. I am fascinated by it. I love horror movies. I love gore. I love all of it. But at a metaphysical level, I love death as a transformation. I don't see death as the end. I personally see it as a stage of metamorphosis. And and I've also had experiences where okay, I wouldn't die, but like I had like breakdowns, breakthroughs happening where everything melted, everything became a synchronicity, everything. It was almost like hearing a cosmic radio, and you are the only antenna for decoding all the frequencies live, and that's what happened to me about a year and a half ago, where everything people said sounded like it was this fractal of a deeper encoded meaning that was almost like a live commentary on my mind, on my way of thinking, on my very being at that time. It's like the universe spoke to me in real time synchronicity with everything that was happening. And I almost went crazy because of it. Like, it felt like dying because I felt essentially possessed by what was on the other side of the veil, trying um, to be me. And it was a matter of kind of like that movie Insidious, where I had to run towards myself from the
Sure.
astral back to the physical and re-embody myself within myself and reject any outside interference. So I've had an experience with death that I would say was a little bit demonic, but at the same time, I saw my angels and my guides walking me through that process and being on my side. So I have a very heightened reverence for death and anything that accompanies death because I feel like it's a way for you to see God unveiled. And I heard the thousand voices, the crown chakra and the thousand petaled flower went open. So it's quite an experience to hear that. It's the
Mm.
most sonorous, multimodal way in which your mind can ever compartmentalize information because a singular voice has a thousand resonances attached to it, and you hear everything that's being said at once. So I've never like decoded at such a quantum speed before or channeled at such a quantum speed before. But it was the best and worst experience of my life, to be
Mm.
honest.
That was your rebirth. So, do you think that, like, do you believe in the afterlife, and do you think that you'll be reborn again after this life, or do you think you'll go back to source? Where's Kaylin? He disappeared. Oh, hey, Liano. Cupido. Are you a Cupid? I'm joking. Where is this guy? Oh my god, what happened? Kaylin, no, guys. So we have a power outage. Guys, his camera went off. Okay, guys. So I don't know what happened with Kaylin, but let me check. Hey, Parini, Batarai, Batarai. I'm just waiting for Kaylin, guys. Guys, I think his battery died because we're also having power outages like all over South Africa right now. It's so bad. It's so corrupt. Talk about the evil that's happening here, injected in our society, which keeps people in a box, which that's actually what I want to talk about on a solo level. Keeping people in a box. What do you think about that, guys? Who doesn't conform to being labeled and justified and diagnosed falsely for your authentic self? Raise your hands. Raise your hands. So I'm gonna check what's happening with him, and I think the battery died while he's sorting that out. I want to give a small talk on my impact and what I'm going to be doing for my future in the industry as who I am, you know what I mean? So I've actually been in the industry for like 12 years now, actress, singer, model, dancer, whatever. And I'm currently one of Roy Hamilton's artists. and he worked with Britney Spears and Michael Jackson and Ariana Grande and just a bunch of different artists in sync, Justin Timberlake. And, talk about Roy Hamilton and his legacy and what he did for artists and how he made, you know, people become people or artists become evolved in what they give to the world. So I think that's important to touch on because I feel like there's so many false stereotypes. And I think it's not nice to make up things in your head. You know what I mean? Like we are all people. We all of the same nature. So at the end of the day, no matter what career you have, it's all the same shit. You shouldn't be like, oh, this bitch, that bitch, whatever, Ariana Grande, blah blah blah. We all people. We're all made of the same. So whatever happens, like I can't, falsely accuse or talk shit about an IT consultant or an engineer because that's their career. That's what they do. So at the end of the day, I just feel like a lot of public people have a lot of shit they must deal with, but it comes with it. Like being an IT consultant comes with stress because you have to constantly be coding and coding and coding and decoding the whole day and fixing systems and doing this. And now the other people are incompetent in your team. And now you can't fix this because now the system is down. Same shit. So there's a lot of business that happens in the industry, and I think knowing the truth about it also will make people very clear. So I feel like obviously I'm against rumors and celebrity gossip. I'm very against that. If we do gossip or talk tea, I would prefer tea that's positive, uplifting tea. Like, what is the next drama, Sophie or Soapy, you watching? What is the tea? What's the scoop on the next drama or series you've been watching? Like, like fun tea, positive. Keep it light. And I tend to detain myself and stay away from the bad gossip and the false and the rumors and the lies because it's bullshit. So anyway, so I've actually been doing background extra work for a while as an actress, and that's when I got in contact and connection with Roy Hamilton. But I'm also connected to a lot of other producers and celebrities and execs all over the world. So I'm based in South Africa, but I am looking to move overseas. But yeah, I've basically just been working my ass off building a business, building a company, building things. Sorry, there's a car outside. Yeah. Building a business, building my or influence. You are on the become the becoming. And I feel transcendence, ascendance. I was actually looking into who But basically, he's like a really good friend of mine as well, and he's actually studying psychology. Are hiding or justifying, you're doing it wrong. Kaylin's coming back just now. There's a glitch in the system. That's what he said. Sometimes I feel like a tigress fighting for my life, but then I come back to life and I'm like, oh, everything's actually okay. I thought I was dying for a second. Oh, shit, man. Um, so, yeah, I'm actually from Cape Town. That's where it all happened. And it's amazing. I love Cape Town, but I'm not there currently, but that's where I am. What happened?
I do not know. I haven't have the slightest. Is it Mercury retrograde? That's all I
It's
can blame.
Mercury. It's Mercury.
It must be our chart ruler just fucking with us.
Oh my god, the glitch in the system.
They don't want
I
us
was just
talking. They don't want the Matrix. It doesn't want
no.
us revealing their shit. I think so.
So while you were gone, I was just talking about my career and everything. Again. Okay, is he back? You see how the system is keeping us bound to their shits and we just being untamed and fighting against it. No, my god, he's gone again. What's going on?
Don't know.
Fix
Oh my
that.
god. Let me just put myself on a power bank and sit closer to the Wi Fi. Because I don't know if it's either one of those issues. Um,
So if anyone in the chat has a question for Kaylinn, please ask him.
yes, please do. But where were we when we left off? We were talking about death before death became us.
The death.
Yes. What do you think about death?
So
I know
I
you
do
have a experience with it, so how has that influenced you?
talk about that experience. Can I talk about that? It was
You
interesting
can.
because during that time I was in ICU. I was actually unconscious. I was dead. But I could feel my soul go into another side or another life. Like you mentioned insidious, but not insidious. I was
Mm-hmm.
actually in another realm of,
Okay.
and I could feel my soul come back into my body because it had to come back to its source, into its
Mm-hmm.
sexiness.
Yes.
So
Yes.
it was,
Yes.
so
No, I get you.
it was interesting because it felt a lot like being in another realm, another universe, another place,
Hmm.
another,
Okay.
yeah.
Dimension.
So I, yeah, so I literally skipped. I went in two different, and then I came back to this body and came back to this realm or this life.
So you had like a parallel awareness of being elsewhere and where your body was at.
Mm,
That is so interesting. I've heard that it tends to be like that, that you are kind of like, until the silver cord is tethered, you are still connected to your body. So no
yes.
matter how far you astral project, if that cord is still connected, you can still know what's going on with your body. That is
Mm,
so cool. Like, how does I can't even fathom, like, how do you wrap your mind around that?
I'm used to it. I faced hell.
Wow.
You know what I mean,
Wow.
guys? You must never be afraid of your dark side, guys. You know, I feel like you should
That
always
is so true.
explore.
Mm. That's something that's a theme in my life as well. Like, sometimes I go through these bouts of depression just to be like, oh my God, you've really tainted yourself. But then there are these other times where I'm just like, God is so proud of me because I went out there and explored and I wasn't afraid to get my hands dirty and be slapped by life every which way. You know, it's like just jumping into a rushing current. That's what it
Mm,
kind of feels like. And you've mentioned, for example, like your Lilith in Gemini, it brought out this slut dimension within you. My Lilith in Virgo, same. I had a hoe phase. I was like, oh my gosh. I was such a hoe. I could not even speak it without
talk about
like
my
choking
how.
up. But I was a ho ho ho. Santa Claus was coming to get me because I was such a gift in the bedroom. No, definitely there was this phase in my life, like when I first went to uni, when I went to Stellenbosch, when I was 18, I was just like, I want to know what a man feels like. I want to know what a woman feels like. I want to know what everybody feels like. And I went for it. And I was like uninhibited. And I also got like a bad reputation amongst like my LGBTQ friends because I think they were just jealous of me because I always got the straight men. And
Mm.
I don't know. There was just something about me like being able to be the seducer in that scenario because I was
Mm.
so perfectly embodied in my male and female. I kind of like made them feel there's something missing in them, you know? So either they wanted to dominate me because I virilized them, or they wanted to be submissive to me because I was so potent and I was the alpha male now and they were the bitch.
Yo.
so so that's how that went. That's how that went. But I've
Oh.
toned it down. I've become a lot more spiritual and I've actually been celibate for the last couple of years. Just
Oh.
just for the sake of it was kind of like riding me, creating all these attachments in people because what I realized with my Scorpio moon combined with my potent Gemini sun, I tend to attract people who can become obsessed. You know, it's like they want to wear my skin, they want to become me, they want to like have my brain in their head and be like thinking like me and using my language and shit like that. So I was just like very turned off by that side of my whole life. And so I just became celibate and I focused on myself and I was like, okay, well, what is this? Maybe I should be in love with this because maybe that tells me more about like why other people tended to want to absorb me.
I wonder. That's interesting. Hmm. So then, what would you say is your take on obsessions? Because sometimes obsession is good, but sometimes it's bad. If it's criminal obsession, then yeah, it's bad.
Yeah. I think obsession is good. Like, I'm a Scorpio moon. I'm obsessed about everything in my life that I hold dear. Like, my work, my health, my transformation, my self improvement. I'm obsessed about those things. And I think it's good to be obsessed about those things. Being obsessed about people or dick or pussy, like, that's not a good thing.
Yeah,
Like,
that's not.
it just gets messy and I don't know. To me, there's not a man or a woman worth being more in love with than yourself. You can love them as a reflection of you, and I think that's what obsession teaches us. It teaches us like how to integrate reflections of ourselves, because sometimes the reflection is so dissonant, but we're attracted to it either way. That it's kind of one of those opposites attracts moments, and sometimes the attraction is so poignant because you find your mirror image in that person, and then it's a matter of Venusian harmony where things that are the same get attracted to each other. You know, there's like a Plutonian obsession where opposites attract to each other and they struggle it out for power. And then there's a Venusian attraction where opposites attract to each other, but their underlying harmonies and differences is what actually brings them together to create something better. And I'm more into the Venusian attraction, so I tend to want my lovers to be my friends first.
Mm. I mean, I personally feel like that's actually the way to go. I feel like divorce rates are so high these days because people rush or get obsessed too fast without first, creating a bond of friendship. Because that's where it all starts and stems from,
Yeah.
friendship. So I feel like a lot of
Agreed.
people are breaking up and getting divorced, and there's this and there's that because too faithful, too fast. It just
Yeah.
it's actually there's no friendship there. It's just romance
Yeah.
or
It was
sex.
just good dick. And then they realized like good dick doesn't take you all the way home.
It doesn't, really doesn't. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh well, what can we do with the muggles? They have to learn. We have to
Talking
teach
about
them.
celibate, I'm also celibate. Um,
Cool.
same same with what you did and went through. Very similar to that.
Hmm.
But with me, I was polyamorous. Still kind of
Okay.
am, but right now I'm single and I'm celibate and I like it. I want to keep it that way.
Yes,
But
yes,
I
same.
was dating multiple partners, girls and guys, having sex with multiple people, um, openly and honestly, of course.
Okay.
You know, I would
Of
tell my
course.
boyfriend or girlfriend, hey, I'm with this guy or this guy, blah, blah, blah. And sometimes my partners at that time would meet like the other person I'm dating, like an open
Oh,
polyamorous.
interesting.
But that was how it
Interesting.
was. So I've also come a
Okay.
long way. Fully celibate
That
now.
is so cool. I've always wanted to be in a open relationship. I've never really I think my Scorpio moon just never really allowed me to because I'm so fixated on things like loyalty and commitment. Like when I'm into you and you are like the center of my world, you know? And that's
Mm,
the other thing about why I'm celibate is I also realized like I am willing to give so much of myself to the partner. I can just like cater to them and become their entire fantasy and be their whole world. And I have very strong Pisces and Scorpio placements that allow me to just morph into someone else like that, you know, and I know how to
go through
manipulate
it.
myself and my image, you know, and my projection and the way I carry myself. So I could be anybody's wet dream. And that kind of scared me because,
Mm,
like I said, the obsession thing came into play, and then my Gemini side and my Aquarius side needed detachment. And when I needed detachment, they wouldn't detach. So it would be like a
oh,
leech. And then I would just kind of like
mm,
run away. So I would go through these phases of being like the chaser and then being the runner. And and I've
because
just realized I like being the runner more.
it's too much of this. Like once you give
Mm.
in, people reciprocate too much, and it gets toxic.
Yes.
You know.
Yes, and I was not having the too much of it all because
Mm. You
to
need your
me,
freedom,
I'm a very
space.
balanced person. I don't think I ever like overgave myself or overextended myself. Like, there's nothing I really regret. But
Mm.
if I have one regret, it's like not choosing partners who were emotionally on my level. Intellectually, maybe they were on my level, but emotionally, they weren't on my level. And that made it like difficult for me to kind of like have the space that I need in the relationship. And that's always what
Yeah,
made me break up with him. Because I was just like, that was always like my quote. I need space. I feel like we see each other too much. Like you are like starting to plan your day around me, and that's not good.
that's
You
too
know,
much.
it's too
Mm.
much. Like I just think I'm more attracted to the idea that like a partner has their own life and their own trajectory and their own star rising. You know what
Of
I
course,
mean?
of course.
And it's hard to like meet people and then they come into contact with me and maybe I thought they were a star and I thought they were on their way, but then something about my energy is just gah, and then that
Shows
star crumbles in front of me.
you know what it does? It actually shows their true self, their true intention, their true colors.
I think so because
Mm.
ish. There were some times when like the mask came off and I was like running for the hills. You know, one guy, oh my God, he was such a cute, beautiful guy, beautiful Indian looking guy and everything. And I love the hair and I love the big eyes and the lashes and everything. So he was like a dream guy. But this guy, he essentially freaking locked me in his apartment and went to work. And I had to like sneak out through his burglar bars with my skinny ass. And
Was it?
and I just like had like I get prophetic visions, so I just had the vision that like he was not gonna let me go. He told himself after sex, I have found my person and I'm not letting go. So
That's too
he
much.
the morning afterwards, he went to work. He locked me in his apartment. I called him. I'm like, dude, I'm trying to go home. He's like, no, I'll take you home tonight. And as soon as he said that, I got the vision of every freaking gangbang he was planning to do with me. And I was just like, I got to get the fuck out of here. And so after that, I never had sex again. I ventured into some like playing around, but never sex again. I was too afraid. That was just like next level because it just like proved to me that same pattern of like once people have sex with me, there's like an obsession triggered. And that's what forced me to kind of tap into like reading about my Scorpio moon because my moon is conjunct Pluto. So that's the other thing that really adds to it. I can see, let me see if I refresh. Is it back?
Okay, we back. You know what?
But
It
yeah,
does that. It stops and starts again.
yeah, I don't know. But as I was saying, the Moon Pluto conjunction is something that I've had to learn to be responsible with because it's a lot of energy to draw from people and it's a lot of dissolving of the ego that happens. And then they kind of look to me to give them a new sense of definition of who they are. And I'm not willing to even define myself. So my Gemini sun kind of like shines a light on them that they do not want to see themselves in, i.e., you have no substance, you know?
So, what is your take? Talking about no substance. Did you watch the movie Substance with Demi Moore?
You are quite soft. I can't hear you. Excuse me.
Did you watch the
Can you
movie
turn the music softer,
Substance?
please, buddy? Hello. Can you? Thank you, man. I can't hear well. Sorry.
So, did you watch the movie Substance with Demi Moore?
Um, you are quite soft, Kenji. I can't really hear you.
Am I here? Can you hear me?
Not really. It's quite soft.
Your phone, Kaylinn.
Oh my gosh, am I getting old or something?
Yeah. Did you watch the movie
I can hear you
Substance?
slightly, but I had to ask him to turn the music down as well. But you're still soft,
Maybe go
and
inside.
my
The
volume is on its loudest.
the movie Substance with Demi Moore.
Oh, we were speaking about my moon Pluto revealing the lack of substance, and my Gemini
So,
sun kind
so
of
talking about the
doing its
substance
thing.
with your Pluto and Mercury. Did you watch the movie
Mm.
Substance?
Yes, yes. Oh my gosh, that was art. That made me horny. That was fucking high caliber art. I loved it. I loved it. I
Hopefully, I'll
think
meet her
you
one
and a
day.
movie like that about wearing a different skin, it just makes so much sense. Like you should be putting on your Andromedan garb and taking it off because you have to be among the muggles. I can just picture that movie. I will write the screenplay and everything.
Oh my God. Why don't you be so you studying psychology
Yes.
and tell us about that.
It's the most interesting thing because I love the way the mind works. And here where I am, there are a very diverse university, and the way the lectures are done, it's very multimodal. We have live lectures, we have video calls, we have pre-recorded lectures. Um, our coursework is spread out across online quizzes, online tests, physical tests, written assignments. So it's very interesting all the different ways in which they get us to engage with the work. Because I've studied psychology for my own interest before, and now I just get to kind of like apply it. I get to apply it in an academic context. I get to learn the academic language of structuring a response to psychological questions. And so I have two modules in psychology. The one is introduction to psychology, and the other one is brain and development and behavior. But I like the brain development and behavior more because it's almost like biology, and you learn about neurochemistry and things like that. But my plan is to specialize in either forensic psychology, educational psychology, or astrological psychology. I'm actually planning to do like a PhD in astrological psychology, using the archetypes to describe mental functions and things like that. Mental and psychodynamics. That's what I want to get into. Astrology as psychodynamics.
That is so interesting.
I have to put the phone to my ear when you respond like an old
That
guy.
is so interesting. I have to scream.
I must say, I love this new hair color for you. It really warms up your undertone and your eyes and are your brows bleached? Yes! Come on. Did you bleach your brows?
I'm gonna do this. Wait. How do you do this? I bleached it. Wait, I'm gonna show everyone. Wait, guys. How does this thing happen? It doesn't work. Oh my
I'm gonna see if I
god.
can put in my earphones. Maybe it's better.
Yeah, kind of got it. It's this tripod that I'm using. Sorry, bad. Got it. Just want to show everyone how it matches with the vibe. You know?
Ah, now I can hear you much better.
But it is actually more blonde in the sun. I wanted to go
Ah,
blonde, but it's
I love
damaging
the
my hair.
blonde.
So can you see it's like straw? So I don't want to go. I can't. I have to stop dyeing my hair now.
You have to just soak it in coconut oil before you go to bed and put a wrap around it.
I think you must take off your earphones.
Can you not hear me?
Yeah.
Well, when I don't have the earphones in, I can't really hear you.
Really? There's something going
Oh,
on
there you're
here.
back. You're back. You're back. Don't worry, you're back. Let's continue. You're
Okay,
back
so
live in like a proper sound.
I want to ask you, what autistic visions do you have?
For myself or just in general, um, artistic visions. Let me think. Um, so For myself, I love to paint and draw. That's like my medium of expression. And and so I love to draw things that are either hyper realistic or super super abstract. And and I actually struggle to find a medium in between. Like for example, I can't draw anime and cartoons and things like that,
Mm,
which is an area in which I want to challenge myself this year.
mm,
Um, musically, um, I love to produce and I love to co-write with people. So if you ever um, need some assistance, I have a very good ear for like alternative melodies and layering and building things like that, like creating a sound wall, things like that. But I don't have that much studio experience. All of what I've been teaching myself has been on the phone. You know what I mean? But I would love to
mm,
get some studio experience. And just overall, I love to collaborate with people in any way. I like to take their vision and refine it because that is my son, Punarvasu. It's about refining, it's about the return of the light. So, um,
mm,
anybody can have a light bulb moment around me, it will dissipate, but I will bring back the threads of what was useful and intuitive about it, you know? So I'm very good at like collaborating with people, co-writing, puns, punchlines, things like that. Um, but melodies also, layering, structuring a sound wall, um, harmonics, harmonies, things like that. I have a good ear for listening for how to layer a song. So that's something I want to get into. And then the drama part of acting, like I'm not a good dancer. I can't dance for shit. But the drama part of art, um, this year I see for myself doing some. I wanted children, Charles. I want to have some of those moments.
And talking of the Tyler Perry movie Diary of a Mad Black Woman, I actually met the casting director Raven Drummer on the red carpet,
Wow.
and the Tyler Perry team of the entire structure of acting coaches, casting directors, they're such amazing, humble people. And let's
Mm,
actually talk about that because you can be confident, but a lot of people lose their humbleness or lose their true art self.
mm,
And when Raven Drummer when Raven Drummer spoke, she was so like just yourself, just like your mom, or like hi mom. Okay, that's like she was very
yeah,
just like chill, like a maybe like a Brandy in a way, you know. But
yeah,
it was so interesting meeting these people, Teddy P, Nate, and Raven. I'm actually still in contact and in communication with Nate Butler. But Raven was such a beautiful person to meet and be on the carpet with them and just all around perfection. It was amazing. So what would be your take on Tyler Perry's creations? What would be your take on his movies, Medea?
to me, the Tyler Perry universe is a magnum opus of African American Southern Black culture, and I like to see it in that light. But I also like to see it in a more universal light, where it's like this is everybody's auntie and everybody's crazy uncle and so on and so forth. Like it's a bunch of universal archetypes that we can all relate to, and are so funny. I haven't watched all of them, but I have definitely watched the first couple of movies and sequels within his disc. You wouldn't filmography, you would say. And I've watched some of his plays as well. and I actually prefer the plays more than the movies. Um, because I just think they're so funny. But in terms of Tyler Perry as a writer and a creator, um, I really think that he has found a niche in terms of giving voice to a very specific type of black woman, and he gives voice to the type of black women who are shunned, who are overlooked, who are stereotyped into mammies or sapphires or Jezebels, or you know what I mean, or goody two shoe. I don't know, but there's a stereotype for all of them, or the mulatto, or things like that. He gives voice to all of them. Like for example, in um, the uh, the one where the mom has cancer, Kimberly. You know that one? That's like a mulatto stereotype because she had pretty privilege and things like that. But then again, she was also raped by her uncle.
Mm,
So things like that. I think he has a very subtle way of giving these characters voices in a drama where everybody's voice is heard and everybody's loud, but
yes,
everybody is crafted to have their own little mini series happening within their character arc, and I think that's cool.
oh, definitely, definitely.
So, do you write or um, do you write anything like in general, or acting, screenplays, things like that?
I have two published poetry books that's on Amazon Kindle, and I actually wrote a theater piece, a monologue that I performed on stage.
Oh wow! You should send me links to your books and your monologue.
And
I
I
would
do
love to
actually
read
want
them.
to be a film producer in my future. So for now, it's just getting myself to a qualified professional actress stage so then I
Okay.
can become the becoming. So I can do more.
Okay.
It's a journey. It's a
Okay.
journey because
So
I'm
you
also,
want to go from in front of the camera to behind the camera to doing both.
yeah.
Okay. I
And
get you.
acting takes years. I mean, Demi Moore only won her Golden Globe after 45 years. So, as I am a more qualified singer and dancer and writer and life coach, the acting is a work in progress. It's a journey.
Okay.
So, there's a
Okay.
lot
I love
happening
that for
there.
you. I love that for you. I can definitely see you developing your craft holistically. That's
Definitely, I
good.
would say
That's good.
Angelina Jolie inspired and Charlize Theron inspired a lot of who I embody as a character sometimes.
Oh my gosh, I definitely pick up on your Angelina Jolie channel. You know, she's my favorite actress, and you, hands down, have the best seduction game,
That's
except for her.
exactly what that's exactly what my acting coach even said. He said, "You're so much like Angelina Jolie, you're so much like Charlize Theron. Like your character stereotypes, you can play strong woman characters
Mm,
like that because you have
yeah,
that
I can definitely see
Angelina
you
Jolie vibe."
having a girl interrupted Golden Globe
Oh
moment.
my God,
Like
that's
you can be,
right.
you are that girl interrupted. No offense, but you are that girl
Exactly.
interrupted. Look at how many times we got interrupted today and before.
Oh my God, listen here. Girl Interrupted was my favorite
Ne?
Angelina Jolie
My favorite one
favorite.
was Gia, but I love Girl Interrupted as well. Torch, what you doing? Nothing. Why didn't you go to your room and do nothing? I love that. I love that. Oh, these dogs.
So we're gonna. How long has this podcast been? So what is? Let's talk more about the astromology on psychology, and that's the field we want to get into.
Hmm.
How would you start? Would you start an astro finesse business?
Well, currently I have a business on campus where I essentially teach people the connection between the meaning of their name and their birth chart and the series of archetypes, gods and goddesses that they are embodying or at least act as a channel for, you know. And it's quite interesting because your clientele, they don't necessarily come from the lens of astrology isn't real, or you know what I mean, or understanding. Maybe they know some of the mythology stories, but they've never really thought, okay, but this is me, you know. So it's been interesting navigating just the diplomatic language of translating astrology into psychology for people, because you are telling people about who they are, about how what makes them tick, about how they function and things like that. And you don't want to use language that goes over their head or makes them feel compared to something demonic, because sometimes if you tell them, for example, you embody Thoth, like you have the gift of logos and word, then they just get stuck on you said Thoth, and that's an Egyptian deity, and that's from the devil. So it's been a trial for me because Ish, my Sagittarius rising, I'm a person of the world, so everybody's God is my God. You know what I mean? It's just a
Yeah.
different name, a different epithet, a different scientific formula. That's the way my mind decodes the words. Um,
So let's talk
but
about Sag. Actually, I think that's important because my seventh
okay,
house is in Sag, my Jupiter is in Sag, and I'm a Sagittarius descendant. So
okay,
let's talk about that because I literally travel every month. If Sag is not real, then why are we so saggy, you know? Because I
yes,
literally travel every month for this for life. I cannot be just here stuck or tied down. I'm very
same.
much whatever, doing whatever. So
Mm-hmm.
what is your take on the typical Sag or the placement of Sag? What is your take on it?
Okay. To me, Sagittarius is the sign of synthesis. It is about where Gemini is the sign of bridging opposites. Sagittarius is the singularity of that fusion that exists. So it's from that galactic center singularity point from which everything radiates. Sagittarius is always pointing its archery towards the bull's eye of Taurus, which is fixed earth, and esoterically Sagittarius is ruled by earth. So there's something in the way there's something in the way that Sagittarius has a connection to ancestral wisdom and things that has to do with roots. They always want to know the origin of things. They always want to know the beginning of things. They are very philosophical for that reason because they like to extrapolate. They like to have a first principle and then say all the things that are connected to it. To me, Sagittarius is like a mind map with something in the center and all sorts of little targets around it that's supposed to hit that center as a point of relevance. So we speak very expansively, we philosophize very expansively, and people think we have ADHD, but actually we are just so circular in our reasoning that everything revolves around the center. And they say we're very self obsessed because we are the center of our universe, but For Sag rising, Leo is
Oh,
in the ninth house.
listen
And for
here. So
Gemini
every
rising,
fire
Leo
sign.
is in the third house. So you have Leo in the third house, I have Leo in the ninth house.
Wow, that is so interesting. So interesting. Mm, guys, these fires, fire, 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 fire.
I love
So,
fire
and
signs.
it's
Fire signs are my
fire
favorites.
mutable actually, fire mutable because of my Gemini
Yeah,
rising.
yeah, Sag is mutable. And it's so interesting. Sag has to, sorry, Sag has to like transmute the emotional intensity of Scorpio into the worldly ambition of Capricorn.
That makes sense. Oh my gosh.
And
Speaking
that's
of
why
that,
we were given the gift of humor because you
there was
need
a guy.
Capricorn is the sign of comedy and tragedy, but Sag actually brings the humor.
There was a guy long years ago that I dated, Sagittarius, and his ex-girlfriend was a Scorpio, and he was
Mm,
vehemently obsessed with her and the
hmm.
relationship they had. And he told me
Of
this from a
course.
philosophical level because he was very spiritual. And he explained everything to me about his ex and her being a Scorpio and him being a Sag and what they
Mm-hmm.
shared as a partner and how it completely disrupted flow.
Because that's a
So
12 house
interesting.
synastry for him.
Yeah.
Like her Scorpio would fall in his 12th house. So that's why,
Mm,
because my moon is in the 12th house, I tend to, and it's in Scorpio, I tend to illuminate people's sexual desires. So whenever I'm in a room, people are just like immediately aware of their sexual undercurrents, because like my moon Pluto conjunction brings light to it. And it's in the 12th house, which is also the house of bedroom pleasure. So a lot of times I slip into your mind, kind of like a fantasy of like, what would Kaylinn be like in the bedroom? I don't know why. It happens with everybody I meet. There's just this slight contemplation of like, what would that guy do in the bedroom to me?
yeah,
Or
like
what would I do to
mismatch,
him? Yeah. So I think your boyfriend was onto something as to why he had such a karmic tie to the Scorpio energy because it's his 12th house. It represents the energy he's supposed to transmute into the value of his second house, Capricorn. So he's drawing kind of like emotional resources from her in order to. It's like the Scorpio fixed water is the fuel of the Sagittarius fire that becomes crystallized as the Capricorn earth.
yes. And it makes sense because a lot of my friends growing up, like best friends, guys I dated, sad, sad, sad. All of them. All
And you have
very
Sag in
sad.
your seventh house, you said, nah? Yeah.
Yeah. And Jupiter.
So yes. So I attract a lot of
Understand.
Geminis to my energy, but because sometimes my other placements, I'm not your typical Gemini because I'm not from Earth, and
You know, you're another
so
starseed like me. I love it.
yeah, so I attract Geminis, but I tend to attract lower vibrational, deceitful Geminis who want to compete
Why?
with me and shit like that. I don't know. It's because my sun is there, so I'm supposed to be like an authentic light. You know what I mean? It's testing my purity because
It's the
when I was
unevolved.
younger,
You're attracting the unevolved Gemini
yeah, because my
energy.
my role model hermit 6'2" gene key design is about uplifting other people and kind of being like Prometheus. My son is chained to the descendant, like I'm constantly getting my liver picked out like Prometheus because I'm supposed to share my knowledge.
Sheesh.
So the unevolved Gemini flock to me like a fucking bunch of succubi just wanting to eat my brain like a zombie.
Oh, I hate those. I don't like that. unevolved.
But I've
Anyone
learned
who's
to live with it. I've learned to live with it, and I don't just attract them, but I in my relationships I tend to attract the superficial side of people first because it's the side that they give in order to kind of like be on the same stage as me, like in the seventh house, where they find they equal to my being there. They give me a side to themselves that they think is worthy of that. And then my son slowly but surely melts it away, like you being Icarus flying too close to the sun with your wax wings, bitch. But
yeah.
you know what I mean? And then they have to learn to transform and actually become a butterfly with real wings. But that's my
It's
Scorpio
true.
moon and the alchemy of that, giving them some
And I think you know
poison
what?
to get some antibodies.
A lot of people are unevolved. I actually lived with an unevolved Sagittarius, and I've never experienced an unevolved Sag ever.
Oh my
So that
god,
was like a
was he
very
a hoe?
similar experience to what you went through with your unevolved Geminis.
Mm,
Very similar because I attracted an unevolved Sag, and that was
mm,
contradicting my energy because I'm evolved, positive, life, um,
mm,
on the go, freedom, expression. I'm super optimistic, bombastic, and this girl was just the
mhm.
darkness.
Oh my
It was
gosh,
my
I could
first
so
time,
relate. I used to
yeah.
attract emo friends, like people who are just constantly depressed around me. And I would literally, it would feel like my only purpose in the friendship is to regurgitate some light because it was a test of purity for me. Like, are you gonna be this sun despite the darkness that surrounds you, despite the encroaching sunset? Are you still gonna be the sun through the underworld and beyond? Are you gonna shine bright as a Gemini? Are you gonna be pure? Are you gonna be lively, vivacious, humorous? You know, that was the test, and hopefully, I'm evolving incrementally to be able to pass it every day better and better. Because I still meet people like that. I still meet people who just like recognize my mind as a source of value, you know, and not like my entire being. So, and my Sag rising, it can see you coming from a mile away because I always have that long term vision of how every pattern fractally plays out. So I've learned to you know deflect any sort of energy vampires, anything like that, any succubi energy. But it was hard um, because my default mode was kind of like to believe in everybody's highest self, the way I believed in my highest self. I didn't realize, but some muggles don't even have that.
Muggles are just stay away from us. Lamgardi, Leviosa. Go.
Oh my god, I got to have a cup of tea now. I need to have some special herbal tea to set my aura in alignment because the muggles they have fucked me over.
Oh, can't stand those atrocious things. Get away from us,
It's the
please.
blood. It's you can always tell bad blood.
Rotten blood. I can't
Oh
stand
my
the
god.
muggles.
But
Can't
but seriously, I feel like
stand.
some people I don't know if they don't have an imagination. I don't know if it's just black when they close their eyes. I don't know.
So,
But I feel like some people have no magic.
oh,
And I honestly
flex.
like I feel like it's the hardest bane of my existence to try and relate to them or at the very least to get past an interaction with them without offending them or destroying their whole ego. Because you know my Scorpio is so potent that I could just sting you like that and
You should.
you would
And you
just
know
be
what?
forced to transform.
You
But
should
at the
break
same
and
time people
crack.
aren't ready for that.
need to though, because when is any narcissist or ignorant person going to be ready? So, but
That's
even
true.
if you piss them off, make them hate your guts. That is your mission. That is what you are supposed to do as a star seed. So regardless, it's like they're gonna be pissed off regardless because they're fighting with themselves, with their inner energy. And you
You know, I've
bringing that
noticed
out
that.
and making them force themselves to work on it.
You are so right. Because I've noticed that they're never really fighting with me. They are fighting with this version of themselves that they are afraid of me seeing who they are as that version. And yet I still embody that to a higher degree, i.e., I'm an evolved version of that. Because here's the thing, I own my shit. I own my darkness, I own my traumas, my everything. And then sometimes I meet people and they get so obsessed with me for various reasons, but sometimes the reason is like I'm here for the Wi-Fi, man. Sorry, I'm on a YouTube live. Yeah, I'll try and keep it down. Nah.
Okay.
Housemates. But the
What is it
reason
with the
why I
chips?
feel the reason why I feel like it kind of like forces me and them to transform is because I'm a mirror. I function like a mirror, and and the darkness that I see within them is a darkness I can recognize within myself. You know what I mean? And then when the yin yang of that happens, where they are supposed to see, oh, the aspiration or the desire that I have to be something else that this guy embodies, it's a desire that is within me, you know? But then they demonize me for being gay or for being bi or for being whatever, like they label me as or whatever, just because of the fact that they think like shrinking me to a label underscores the limitlessness of my impact. And I think you must get that a lot as well because you also have that energy of like, bah, you know?
I do, but with
And
my
you
with
see
my
like
Aries
Aries, yeah.
sun, I clap it in their face.
You clap it, you clap that shit, yes, girl.
If I was there right now in your house, I would tell your roommate, hello, he's talking with a celebrity icon legend here right now. So I think you guys need to actually just let him be and make his noise. Thanks.
Oh my
Bye,
gosh,
ciao.
yeah.
Ciao. No one asked. Thanks.
I know you would do that, and I would appreciate that because I wouldn't dare. Like my Chiron in Libra
Oh,
wouldn't allow me to be so crass.
yeah. So
Sometimes I'm
to
just,
end off this podcast, what
mhm.
would be your next step on your revolution?
My next step is basically to get some roots here because I've relocated. My fourth house is in Pisces, and recently the north node moved into Pisces, where my south node is natally. So that nodal shift uh, coincided with me relocating to a beautiful house. I live with Muslims now. Um, so
Talking
that's
with shits.
interesting. Huh?
You're living with Muslims now.
Yeah.
Muslims in my complex gave me shits.
Nah.
Full of
Well,
shit.
they are very nice. I haven't gotten any beef with them, or should I say any
Okay.
pork with them.
Okay.
They are very nice, and I love it here. But I definitely have to, like Fiona in Shrek, create a few homey touches, and and yeah, allow people to get used to the fact that I'm a princess by day and an ogre by night. You know, there's two sides, two twins, there's two people living inside of me. And so, me creating a comfortable environment means that I've created space for the full spectrum of myself to have application. You know, like sometimes I will just like start cleaning here like a mad person because sometimes people be messy and my OCD can't. But
That's good.
but it's about, you know, setting the tone for like how I want to live, and claiming my space as mine, you know. And so that's the first thing on the agenda. The other thing is obviously focusing on my academics and making sure that this chance to prosper really pays off and not giving it up for anything else. Like the last time, giving it up for my mom to help with my dad. This time around, I'm just not going to do anything like that until my degree is in my hand, you know.
Definitely.
And and then the other thing that I want to do is I want to have more of an integrated campus experience, like other than the way I had it at Stellenbosch, where I was very isolated and there was a lot of racism. Here, I get to be part of a community and I get to be culturally myself, ethnically myself, and I'm not competing with anybody's pedigree or money or classism or anything like that.
Mm.
And so I definitely want to participate more, have more interactive modes of sharing my knowledge, like study groups and things like that. I also want to do have like a tutoring business and a proofreading and editing business, helping people with their assignments and their research and stuff like that. And then obviously I want to continue with my astrology business, but I'm a bit uncomfortable making a business out of astrology. I basically just want to give people readings if they are interested. I don't want to force it on anyone, and I also feel very uncomfortable accepting money for it because I feel like my Jupiter in Aquarius, that is my abundance. So I have to just share my knowing freely. You know what I mean? Um, I have other ways to make money, like through doing artistic things, doing makeup, doing. You are frozen a bit. Hi. Can you hear me? You are frozen. Kenji.
Oh, done. I'm closing it. I've finished. I've finished everything. I've closed everything.
Okay. Okay.
I just said thank you guys for watching us and letting us
Yes.
talk
Yes.
about shit, good shit. And
Yes.
finally, it's the end of the Gemini chat. It's been a
Yes.
long
Oh my
time
god.
coming for this, hey?
Yes. Oh my gosh. And I am so glad that it finally happened. Um, it's been a dream of mine to be featured on Kenji's channel. I've literally manifested this. So kudos to God for just allowing me to have a fruitful manifestation for once and not a subconscious, you know. But this has been good, and I am very honored to actually have been sharing the same space as you because you are such an inspiration to me. Like I told you before, you were the one who inspired me to get out of my depression and start my YouTube channel. So just because you were you and you were talking about being a Gemini and being a Uranus in Aquarius, and I was like, I could do that. I could tell people about like how I experienced these placements. I could feel like a star doing that. I would love doing that, and you inspired me to do so.
Hmm.
So yeah, I
Thank you so much.
oh my gosh, I'm just
And that
thinking
was
of something
actually
really funny.
how my YouTube, that's how everything started. I did a video on Lilith in Gemini. That was how everything started. My first YouTube video years ago.
Really? So
Hmm.
that was the first one.
Lilith in Gemini. Everything took off
Wow.
after that.
Yes. So you
Okay.
really
Thank you for
ascended.
joining. Hmm.
You really ascended, eh?
Thank you for joining, guys. Toodle two. Say bye, Kylie, Kaylinn.
Bye, guys. Thank you for hosting me. It's been an honor and a privilege.
And watch out and check out his channel. Toodle!
Yes. Bye.